Hello, and welcome back to the Scary Stories channel. Many more scary stories are coming soon, so be sure to hit the subscribe button below. Tonight's scary story is about a strange week in a recording studio. I run a DJ company and have a small recording studio at my house. It was around Christmas time when I got a call from a local band wanting to cut a demo track for their YouTube channel. I told them the prices. The guy said that he was going to make a few calls to the other members and get back with me in a few days. The next day, my phone rang. It was John, the head of the band. He asked if I would be able to have the track out by Christmas Eve. I said that depended on how quick the recording went with the band, as that was only 2 weeks from now. Once all the recording is done from them, I told him it would take me less than 1 day to master and export the final product. He said that was great. When can we come and start? I said that I was finishing up a track for a commercial today, but we could start the first thing in the morning. He said that was awesome. He would contact everyone and be at my place by 8 a.m. I finished up what I was working on that night, sent the file to the client, and went to bed. I got up the next morning at 4 a.m. to set up a profile on the system for the new clients. I tested all of the equipment and had everything complete and ready by 7. Since I had an hour before they were supposed to be here, I decided to start recording a voiceover for one of my own projects. I completed about 10 minutes worth of audio and went back to check to see how it came out. Everything was great quality except I had a strange hiss about 4 minutes into the track. I thought, oh crap, I need to get this fixed ASAP. I pulled a new mic cable out and hooked it up. I figured that was probably the culprit. I again ran 10 minutes of audio to see if the problem was resolved. It was. Whew, thank goodness. By now they were due in about 10 minutes to arrive. The band arrived a few minutes early and started to set up. I went over some minor details with John about what kind of effects and sound/feel he was looking for. They had a dark rock/metal band that was putting their own spin on a cover of an old Jim Croce song. I had a few ideas I ran by him about creating a reverb sound for the voice with a slight delay effect. He loved the idea, so now I knew where to start. The next 7 hours, I took all the band's recordings. I loved what they were doing with this song. They weren't the best band around, but this song really fit them well. I knew I could tweak out a few minor pitch issues in no time and have this song rocking out. We were all done with the individual tracks, so I told John I would get a few masters exported and to send to him tonight. I told him to let me know which he liked and if anything else needed tweaked sometime tomorrow. He left, and we were both excited to get this done. I spent the next few hours that night playing with the sound, but the strange thing was, right at the 4-minute mark, right at the end of the song came this strange hiss I heard before. This was on the main microphone channel also. At this point I was thinking it was maybe the mic itself. It sounded a slight bit different than the first one I'd heard though. I have all my equipment on the same circuit and each device has its own isolation transformer, so it couldn't be a ground loop issue. What was going on? Nevertheless, it was at the tail end of the fade-out portion of the song, so I did some creative editing and finished the master samples for the client. Thank goodness I didn't have to bring him back to record again. That would have looked very professional on my part. I emailed the client the samples and went in for the night. The next morning came, and as usual, I got out of bed early. It was around 5 a.m. I went downstairs to the studio to check my email. I didn't figure I would have anything from John yet, but just in case I did, I wanted to get started. To my surprise, I had a response from him. He said, "Call me ASAP. I've been up all night." I called him and asked what he had thought. He said, "Well, to start with, I absolutely love the second sample. No changes at all are needed." I said, "Great. I'll proceed with that then." He asked me if I had listened to the raw master very close. I said, "Yes, and I apologized for the mic hiss. I cleaned it up for the samples. He said, "No, you don't understand. It's fine and it's not your fault, but I think you might want to go back and take another listen to that part. I have been up all night because of it. Here's a hint. Slow it down to a quarter speed or more." I said, "Okay, I'll be sure to do that." He assured me it wasn't my equipment, it was something else. I got off the phone with him and immediately started my equipment back up. Curiosity was killing me now. What was John so excited about? It seemed like the drives were taking forever to boot up this time. I guess I was so anxious at this point, it seemed as if I was watching the grass grow. Finally, the red lights danced across the 24 channels telling me it was ready. I loaded the raw data from the drive and set it to 3 minutes and 59 seconds. I hit play. There it was, the dreaded hiss. I backed it up and set the speed for 1/8. Then when I hit play, my life changed forever. It was a very clear but faint whisper. "I am still here. Talk to me." I nearly had a heart attack. Now I knew why John had been up all night. I now had wondered if that was what had happened on my recording as well. I loaded the data, frantically trying to see if there was another voice. I set it to 3 minutes and 59 seconds. I set the speed down and immediately hit play. There it was again, the voice. "I love you. Talk to me." I broke down in tears. I had lost my wife a little over 6 months ago. She was at work when there was an explosion from a natural gas leak. My world ended that day. I turned to work to keep my mind off my life. I ran the DJ business, my studio, did freelance IT work for local businesses, and if that didn't keep me busy enough, I drove for Uber as well. I was a workaholic, anything to keep me busy. Unfortunately, when I heard this voice, all the feelings I was trying to avoid came out all at once. I knew it was my wife's voice. I canceled all my appointments for the day and just sat there and cried for hours. I missed her so much. That evening, I turned on the TV and tried to take my mind off of this for a while. That's when the lights started flickering. Then, on the TV, I heard the same hiss as was on my recordings. I couldn't avoid this. I went down to the studio and fired it up again, set the mic up to the first channel, and hit record. I said, "I am here, babe. I still love you. What do you want to say? I'm listening." I let it record for a few minutes and then played it back in slow speed. "I love you. Don't ever forget. I can't move on yet. Help me, please." My heart dropped. It was her. There was no doubt anymore. I hit record and said, "Anything you need, just tell me. I'm still here for you." I let it record in anticipation. I played it back. "Call the king." I kept trying to do this for the next hour, but got nothing. What had happened? I fell apart, not knowing why she wasn't at peace. I woke up. I had fallen asleep while crying in my studio chair. The lights flickered again, so I hit record. "Talk to me," I said. I played it back. "Camera company. Call. Nodded. At this point, I knew she was having a hard time communicating, but I knew what she was getting at. I installed the camera system for her old employer. It was cloud managed by a local data center. I called them up and told them I needed the account details to log back in, as I am doing an install for another system and need some info. Since I was the original tech that installed it, they surprisingly gave me the details I needed. I logged in, found the archive file from the day of the accident. I took a deep breath as this was going to be the hardest thing I've ever done before. I knew I was going to have to watch the footage, knowing I would be seeing the explosion that caused my wife's death. Even worse, would I see her die? I set the time to 15 minutes before the accident. I pulled up all 23 cameras, and I hit play. There she was, sitting in her office chair. I had to shut off the camera. I couldn't take it. The lights flickered again. I hit record and said nothing, as I was too emotional. I played back to hear the voice say, 4. It clicked with me. 4 minutes on both recordings had heard her voice. I set the cameras at 4 minutes before the accident and hesitated before I hit play. I didn't want to see this, nor even want to know. What if I found out something that I can't live with? I knew I had to, though. I hit play. Immediately, I saw what she was trying to tell me. The owner's wife, Debbie, was on camera in the mechanical room near the main boiler. She turned the gas valve off, opened the boiler, and stabbed the pilot light valve with a screwdriver. She turned the valve back on and left. Less than 3 minutes later would be an explosion as the gas filled the room and ignited. I didn't need to watch it. I had evidence. I backed up the data on a flash drive and took it straight to the sheriff's office. I let him watch the footage as I looked away. He immediately took action and went to arrest Debbie. 45 minutes later, he called me back and said that he got a confession. She was trying to kill her husband as he was abusive to her. Unfortunately, he wasn't the only casualty of her actions. 6 others passed on that same day due to her selfish actions. The sheriff said that she was wanting to get caught, as the guilt was too much to live with. I didn't believe in the afterlife before this, and I don't want to ever have another experience with it. The good news is that at least Debbie was behind bars facing multiple charges. It still didn't bring my wife back. Everything had been quiet since that day, but I wish I would have at least got to say goodbye one last time. I miss her, but hopefully she can be at peace now. So, what are your beliefs on life after death? How many restless souls are out there waiting for someone to help them? And what measures are they willing to take to get your attention? These are good thoughts to ponder tonight as you go to sleep. So as always, good night, sleep tight from the Scary Stories channel.